Lift Events and Experiences, known for Canada's #1 cannabis conference and trade shows, is hosting a full slate of events in 2023 and expanding into the U.S., and you're invited. Lift welcomes everyone from legacy participants to multi-state operators to everyday folks who can enjoy and respect the plant. So join us in lifting the cannabis industry together, January 12th through the 14th in Vancouver, then in Toronto in June and San Francisco in August. Visit liftevents.com for details. That's liftevents.com.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst, hosting your Cannabis Business podcast. With me today, got a couple of guests. That's Mitch Trellis and Brandon Barksdale with Remedy Capital.
Thanks, Josh. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
For those that don't know, what do you guys do?
We own dispensaries in Maryland. We have two of the largest dispensaries in the state of Maryland. We've been in business for about 5 years now. And as you know, Maryland just went legal last week. So we're looking at some big changes.
That's good news, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you get the license before it went legal? What was the process like for that?
It was similar to most other states on the East Coast. It was a merit-based application process. It took us about 18 months. Probably spent between $600,000 and $1 million. The applications were mostly for grow, processing, and manufacturing licenses. We applied for all three. We won just the dispensary license. In retrospect, 5 years later, it's probably a nice problem to have had. You know what I mean? But we've been here, and we won the store in my partner and I's hometown. So our store is actually 2 miles from where I was born.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we applied in only one district in the state of Maryland. It was our hometown, and we won in our hometown. So
that's quite the risk. You didn't know if there was going to be some kind of moratorium or limits or whatever, but you just went for it.
Definitely.
You're going to be the hometown heroes.
We're trying. It's funny because our town is a very liberal place. So in 2014, within 6 months of the program starting, we had a letter from the county where we live in telling us that we were as right to grow, process, and sell medical marijuana in our county and in our real estate. So honestly, the state of Maryland and Howard County has been fantastic to us since the beginning. I don't think that we've had as much pushback or issues with those types of things as some other people have. We have a lot of other issues, but
you guys feel like there's going to be a lot of clients from DC crossing the border?
Absolutely. I mean, right now DC is a great market. There's a not so structured program in Virginia. I think Maryland did it very well in terms of the medical market for us, and so I don't expect anything less as we go into rec. And I think there's a lot of people that actually aren't accounted for in our current, medical license holders, right? Like in terms of the medical cards. And so I think as we start to pace up and catch up towards that, we'll also start to capture some of that market back from DC, which is currently not regulated, and then also from Virginia, which also is a little bit light on the structure.
Yeah, there's always those border states that make a ton, in the meantime. All over. I think New Mexico's pulling in from Texas. And Washington State, they're coming in from Idaho. So
it's interesting. There's a point in Maryland where it's the only place in America that you can, let me get this right, you can walk and touch 5 states within, I want to say, a quarter mile. So there's a point where Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, they all come together within this one very interesting place. So the cross-border opportunities in Maryland might be a little different than some other places. Again, it's West Virginia has no program. Pennsylvania doesn't have a recreational program. Ohio doesn't have a recreational program. All these places are, they're big medical cannabis markets, but they don't have recreational programs. So,
are you guys jealous a little bit about the Boston area having so many colleges? There's like 5 universities right there. Does that matter in your world?
I try my hardest to never get jealous.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Maryland, we do have a number of universities, 2 very large universities. I think that we also are very transient in the sense of where we sit on the East Coast in the 95 corridor or 695 corridor. We're like a huge inflection point between North and South. And so I think we'll get a lot of traffic from that in itself. People commuting from Maryland to Philly to Virginia to the Carolinas, all the way up north to New York. And I think it's a very unique, kind of opportunity for our market that a lot of states don't see because it's very densely populated in that, north, east, mid-Atlantic, and the southern states as well. It's closer than what people think.
What's next up for you guys? You got your license. Is it trying to find a facility next? Or
So we've actually been operational for 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah, we're actually
as medical?
as medical. Yep. So we've seen about 32,000 patients, and we're actually what for next for us is we're moving our existing store to a new 10,000 square foot facility. We consider it to be the nicest dispensary in Maryland, and that's kind of we're making moves, getting ready for what we believe to be an increase in the market, and trying to serve our patients a little bit nicer place. And Howard County, Maryland is the third wealthiest county in America. So, we want to try to deliver a little more of a premium experience, and we're pretty excited.
Yeah. All right. I would imagine a lot of that has to do with DC bureaucrats, the wealth factor.
Yes, without a doubt, right? So we have the highest average income, third highest average income in America, because again, like you said, many people around us work for government-related businesses or with the government, right? And they're not making $1 million a year, but they're definitely making great money. So, it's a very nice place to live. It's a very liberal place. I think you mentioned earlier, education levels tend to increase the medical card uptake. Very highly educated population. So Maryland has been a fantastic medical market.
What are you seeing in terms of product? What's some of the more popular things that people are coming through? It's a different market on the East Coast. I went to New York in September, went through a lot. We saw they're just basically bringing California products.
Yeah,
and that was pretty crazy to me. With their food trucks on the streets and
just to hit on that real quick.
Yeah.
So New York has actually created a situation where a state like Maryland, when they legalize, is very focused on not having that situation. Right, and that may change legislators' timelines, wherewithal, inclination. No one wants New York.
Interesting. Okay, that's good.
To answer your question, alongside what Mitch just said, flower's king in our market. Just like most other markets.
Around 40% or more?
62.
I would say edibles are probably very close behind that, and then of course concentrates as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So would you say vape pens are more popular than pre-rolls right now?
I would say that pre-rolls are more popular than vape pens.
Okay, so it's not that conservative.
No, last year, I would say vape pens. 3 years ago, vape pens dominated.
Was it VapeGate that stopped?
I think that VapeGate definitely slowed the growth of the vape market, no question. And it made people look for different form factors, right? And if you think about it, a pre-roll is a similar form factor to a vape pen in that it's somewhat convenient, right? It doesn't have the smell factor, but it does have the convenience. I carry it in my pocket, I pull it out. You know what I mean? So it's easy to have.
Yeah,
right?
It's all about convenience, right?
It really is about convenience.
I can't just light a blunt. That's my guilty pleasure, but I can't just blaze a blunt in the middle of the
We all love to, but
I would, yeah. I did last night because I begged for forgiveness, people.
I love it.
At the Green Rush party, they're like, you can't, or Grasslands party last night, they're like, yeah, you can't smoke, and I'm like,
it's Grasslands. What are you talking about?
I don't give a fuck. I am too old to care about that right now. I mean, call it white privilege, call it I don't give a shit, call it whatever you want. I am leading by example, people.
As you should be.
Follow the leader.
As you should be.
Let's blaze. I don't care.
They didn't.
That's one way to look at it.
I like his way.
So back to Maryland. When the COVID hit and delivery was the only way, curbside, whatever we saw, I think, wasn't it Maryland that shut everything? No, sorry, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Shut everything down. They were the only ones.
On the second day of COVID, they said that we are essential. And in the state of Maryland, most stores were not closed. Now, we closed our store for 2.5 years, but we had Chick-fil-A of weed outside of our store. So we did we did massive numbers in the parking lot.
Yeah. Are you guys doing delivery?
We don't do delivery yet.
Is that by choice?
It's legal in the state of Maryland. It is by choice. Yeah.
Okay. So with that influx, that's interesting because you guys are going against the grain. So you want more people to come in, and you're like, nah, we're not going to do delivery. What was the ideology behind that, knowing that during that pandemic everybody was driving and wanting that? What made you buck the trend?
I think early it was logistically difficult. We were already changing our entire business from being in store to being in the parking lot, and that took tremendous. I mean, it was like pushing a rock uphill, right? I think today we've built businesses that are experiential. Our stores are large. They have store within stores. They're unique experiences, and it would be counterintuitive to encourage people to order delivery. But at the end of the day, we've spent a lot of time and energy and money building facilities that we would like the patients to come and experience. And that being said, we would definitely at some point do delivery.
I also think that there's an education component that happens like in the store, like learning about brands, seeing the different products that are out there, understanding the profiles of cannabinoids, THC, and so when you're entering into like a recreational market or adult use market where people are exploring cannabis for the first time, that in-store experience is pretty critical for that first, second, third time experience as you're trying to get a lay of the land of what your cannabis journey is going to be like for whatever experience you're looking for. So, I mean, I think the choice that we made was right at the time, and it doesn't mean it's off the table forever. But, you know, like as we're investing in more kind of, you know, the store concept, the retail experience from, you know, the actual consumer patient, it's super important for us that they get that attentive care and experience.
I think people really truly do underestimate the logistical difficulties that come from. Again, you're changing your entire business. You know what I mean? So it's not easy. It's not easy to do.
And the economic challenges too.
There's tremendous economic challenges. Tremendous.
Random question before we wrap this one up. Does anybody ever ask you for infused coffee? I'm home at Seattle Starbucks. I've been doing this for a long time, and nobody has coffee outside of Portland, Oregon. When 59% of the people are asked what your favorite beverage is, they say coffee. Now, another survey said 58% wanted water. So it's almost half and half, whatever, but yet we still don't have infused coffee. Does anybody ask for it? I'm guessing not. So my next question is, why?
I think, I'll touch on that because I've done a lot of like product studies.
Because you guys have weird shit like ice cream.
That's true. I think the first thing that comes to mind when people think about coffee and cannabis, they think about like two opposite, you know, a stimulant and something that's supposed to be like more of like a calm, relaxing type of experience. And so, not to say that cannabis and different terpene profiles can't do that, but I think when people look at it, they look at it as like, oh, I'm looking to do two opposite things. But they have teas, like, you know, the teas that actually are infused and things like that. But, I mean, it's a great question. It doesn't mean it won't happen.
And they have like, you know, K-cups and stuff. That's not coffee. I'm a snob. It's not coffee.
But I mean, I think, you know, some people that, you know, the teas, they have the honeys, they have like, I haven't seen like many like dairy-like products that are infused, but it doesn't mean that it's off the table.
I also think because of, like, at least for someone like myself, when I think of coffee, I think of Amsterdam, right? Coffee, exactly. Coffee and cannabis go together in those places. So it's almost like they're next to each other, not together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you smoke a joint and drink a cup of coffee as opposed to drinking a cup of coffee that has the joint in it, which, that may be...
It might be the more efficient way to do it.
It might be the more efficient way to do it, you know what I mean? But
if you look, like, everybody check this out. Google the molecule of coffee. You know what THC looks like in your mind. You already know what that looks like. Now Google coffee molecule, and you'll be shocked at how similar it is. Wow. And that's why that you have such a good...
That's why they blend together.
That's why it reminds me of
sense.
Blue Dream of like 2015. You have like this euphoric,
why did you name my favorite strain of my entire life? 2015 Blue Dream. It had yellow and orange hairs, big fat nugs.
I'm telling you, man, like that
was the best weed ever.
That was the shit.
And the euphoria of it was incredible.
Hell yeah.
And it tasted like candy.
I know.
How you know about that weed? That was shit right there.
But I think like
it's a great weed.
But when I think about it, I also think like how rare like sativas are now. And so like I still think of like the synergy of like what's available, mass, and a lot of it is hybrids, you know, sativa leaning hybrids, indica leaning hybrids, and I think from, you know, experience, like side by side, they're good complements. You know, like coffee donuts. It's like, you know, it feels good. But I think like when you think about, you know, combining the two for that experience, I think people haven't quite, got to the expectation.
So, Brandon, is that a result of people going in and asking for the highest THC at the lowest price point, going, well, we must have indica and high percentage hybrids, whereas I smoke sativa all day long, so I use it therapeutically.
Exactly.
But I'm high
You need to keep going.
all day.
You need to keep going. So
And if I smoke indica, I'm going to shut up, and I can't work on that.
if you're a little groggy and you're tired, I'm the same as you.
So are people just hunting and going after like those new entrants of like highest THC, lowest price point? Because when I look for tequila, I don't look for the plastic bottle. You know what I'm saying? I don't go after the highest rated
151.
alcohol.
Let me tell you,
That's not how I shop.
I will say, like, from my perspective, I think that the high THC will subside. I think people will start to educate themselves more, learn more about cannabinoids, terpene profiles, and like what actually drives the experience, and not focus so much on the 151 proof of cannabis.
But that being said, I do think that we are caught right now in this awful swirl of a race to the bottom, cheapest cannabis that has the highest THC. And like you said, that's the equivalent of the plastic bottle of tequila. Like, if you need to get it, get as high as you can, that's fine, right? But the truth is, and I'm sure you know this as well, like, often the 30% doesn't do nearly as much as the 25% with good terms, right? And it's like, you get the 35%. First of all, that's a world record 3 years ago. So the lab obviously cheated. Since Maryland isn't full of the greatest, you know what I mean? It's not the collection of the greatest growers in the world, but everybody's got 35. Let's dig into that for a second, you know what I mean? And so really that's a 27. The 27 is going to be based on the terpene profile.
And it's very different. It's very different from medical to crack as well, right? Like, crack, typical consumer experience isn't going to be as quiet, high potency as like in a medical. And I think that's going to be a bridging point as well. So
I do think that the top 10%, top 20% of smokers drive the entire conversation, and we have such high tolerances that it I think this all the time, right? Like, this person gives me this weed and it's incredible, but when I go to smoke it, I don't get that high, right? But if a regular person smokes any of these, they're going to be like, I've never been this high in my life. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
I gave it 10 milligram to my business partner,
Exactly.
and he like lost his mind.
And meanwhile, I'm popping 40s like it's nothing.
Right.
I wish I could feel something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
The tolerance issue is really, you know what I mean? That's something that nobody ever talks about, but it's really, and look, 20% of the people smoke 80% of the weed. That means all those 20 got crazy tolerance. You know what I mean? So
I do. I'm one of them.
Me too, no question.
All right, if people want to know more about Remedy, where can they find you at?
you can find us online. You can find us at Instagram, Remedy_Maryland. This is, again, we're everywhere now, so I'm really hopeful that we get more people want to learn more about our brand, more about our store within the store concept, retail experience, how we're bringing brands into the state, what we're doing to expand that in Maryland. It's exciting times for us, for sure.
We're about to bring some great brands to the state.
Yeah, we're going to definitely follow up with you because I got another guy, Jimmy Young, Green Rush, Cannabis Media, who's right in your backyard. So,
awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow up, but I think with that, we're going to have to roll this one up. So, I want to thank my guests, Brandon Barksdale and Mitch Trellis with Remedy. Thanks y'all for being on the
Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate it. I'm Josh BK. This is the Top 10. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.
Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to podconnects.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
99.9% of our DNA is identical. It's a 0.1% that truly makes us different and unique. And that's what the show is about. Find out that 0.1% about your favorite guests. Find out what music they like, their first cannabis experience, and even what their room looked like growing up. But more importantly, or as important, their journey. Learn what makes them unique on Everything is Personal.